Hi everyone, welcome to another one of my videos with topics that people don't often discuss. Today I'm going to talk about psychic ability. People often wonder how it works. They ask me a lot of questions around it, and it's not a very easy thing to describe, especially because of the dynamics around it. So I think the most important thing that I need to share with everybody is psychic ability is different for everybody. All right, every person who calls himself an intuitive or a psychic or a medium, they are experiencing things on different levels. And every ability is as individual as a fingerprint. All right. I don't like to necessarily call it a gift. I do think it can be seen as a gift in many ways because it can help and heal and really do a lot for people in their lives, and they can see it as a gift. They've been given this information or this insight that can be really wonderful. But for me, intuition is inherent in every human being. We all have it. Okay, and I get a lot of slack for saying this, but it's a fact. It's an inherent human quality. If you have ever had yourself driving down the street and you think, oh, I shouldn't go down that road, and you hear later that day that there was an accident there, or you have a gut feeling about somebody and you find that they were a really bad person, that's your intuition. Okay, it's inherent within everybody. We all have it. It's something that is an ability that we've all been given. So for me, yes, certainly there are people who have got profound gifts where they really can tap into things and they can really do people things that other people can't. Absolutely, 100%. But we all have it, and psychic ability is something that can actually be honed. It can be learnt, it can be taught, and it does take a lot of dedication and a lot of patience and a lot of effort, but it is something that you can develop. All right, so just like you want to develop your skills in hairdressing, or you want to become a lawyer, or you want to be a teacher, whatever the case is, you go and you learn and you apply yourself, and you can tap into things, and you can actually learn how to do, you know, like mediumship or uh, do readings and this kind of thing. And I'm not talking about the textbook learning to like kind of read a tarot deck. All right, anybody can pull a few cards and read from a book. That's not what I'm talking about. And there's many readers out there like that will say they'll give you a reading and it's very kind of cut and dry, which is to the point. And sometimes, yes, it does help with a lot of insight, but there's not the other intuitive insight that's supposed to come with it. All right, they're not sitting and tapping into themselves and tapping into things like clear audience, clear cognizance, all of these things that are whether you can hear, whether you can perceive certain things from an instinctual, intuitive place. Okay, so like I say, anybody, you today can go out and you can buy a deck of tarot cards or a deck of oracle cards, and you can pick some cards and read from the book. And there's some people that are picking the cards, reading from the book, and giving that out to people as a reading that they must pay for. Personally, I don't think that that is really worth it because I don't think that there's any intuitive information coming through. You certainly can't do a mediumship reading like that where you want to do a reading for somebody on someone who's passed away or anything. That's just not ever going to happen. Okay. There's intuition that needs to be tapped into. It comes through a lot of meditation. It comes through listening to yourself, quieting your mind, quieting the environment around you. You also have to, every time before I do a reading, I need to really kind of shut down from the world. I need to do a short meditation. I need to center myself and say, okay, now you're in this moment. You're here now. You're busy with this client. This is who you're focusing on. And it doesn't matter how busy my day was, if I just had an argument with somebody, if I've rushed in from the store, whatever. I sit down, I get it together, and I do my reading. I get myself in that place. That takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of mindfulness in many ways. And I've learned it because I've kind of had to, because I've been super blessed to meet so many beautiful people and have so many people to read for, that I have to say, okay, now I'm done with so and so. Now it's time to clear that slate. I'm now going to focus on this person and tap into my guides and my guardians giving me the information that I need and making sure it comes from a really good place, that it's not there's no interference, because there can be interference from other energies that are not so helpful and not so good, or they're going to give you misinformation, stuff like this. And that is just not even a part of my reality anymore, because I've trained myself also to be in a high vibration state where I just don't attract that kind of thing. I don't deal with that kind of thing. It certainly was something I struggled with in the past. It certainly is something that anybody that's going to be delving into intuition and psychic ability and stuff is going to have to deal with. And it's part of your armor that you have when you do this kind of work. Okay, you're there to help and to heal and to give constructive, helpful, healing information. And you need to get rid of all the other, I call them the crackheads of the universe, for lack of a better expression, because that's exactly how they come across. They just want to, kind of tamper with things, and they're like mischievous pains in the backside. And obviously then you have some darker things that people delve into and stuff, but that is not something that I entertain. It's not something that I'm into. I can happily watch paranormal stuff, which I really love, because I find it fascinating and interesting, and not think that I have to kind of write a whole spiel at the bottom about I don't claim any energy from this video. None of that, because I've gotten myself to a place where I can actually do that, where I know I'm permanently protected. I've done shielding for myself. I've taught people how to do shielding. If you need that kind of help, please let me know. If you've got anything like sleep paralysis and anything like that that you suffer with, there's ways and means to deal with it. And the biggest or best way to deal with it is to know that you have dominion. You own your own space. You're not going to let just somebody come into your house and take over and bother your kid in the physical real world. So why do people allow spirits to do it? It's just like you have to get to that place. And I definitely will do a video on dominion and asserting yourself, because that's basically what seals off anything that's not supposed to be around you. So it's very important for psychics to do that kind of thing, to be in a high vibration state all the time, to stay away from certain things that are junk, like certain social medias where people are just arguing and fighting, or it's just a pickup joint and there's just low vibe stuff happening there all the time. You have to stay away from low vibe stuff. Otherwise, you're going to attract low vibe stuff. Whatever you give off is what you're going to get back. That goes for what we do in our work as well. If you don't work with integrity, it's going to come and bite you in the backside. One bad review from a client, one negative, terrible experience can really unravel all the work that you've done. And so it's very important to always be completely honest, be transparent, tell people what they want, what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, and work with integrity. Do the right thing by that person to the best of your ability, and then you won't have any struggles. Be honest with the information that comes through. That's another thing, when I do a reading, I could get the most wacky information. I think, what on earth? I can't say that to this person, And then I think to myself, well, that's what's come through. That's what I have to say. And I've had the most random information come to me, and I think I sound so stupid saying this to this person right now. Or there's a song in my head and I've got to tell this person what the song is. And every single time it's significant. Okay, so that's like clear audience, hearing certain things that come through. And there's clear cognizance of just perceiving certain things, and, all kinds of different levels of receiving information. And most importantly, like I said, straight from the beginning, intuitive gifts or abilities are as individual as a fingerprint. You can't get upset with one medium for not doing things exactly the way another medium did them. The information's coming through in the way that they understand it. You can have a teacher standing in front of a class of 10 pupils telling them all the same thing, and they all have their own interpretations of it. That's exactly what's happening. There's information available all the time up in the ether that we can tap into in millions of different ways. Literally, we can see things, we can hear things, we can feel things, we can see a picture in our heads and not physically see somebody in front of us. We can get a song in our heads. There's myriads of different ways and means that information can come through. So please don't ever expect a psychic or medium to be the same as the person you dealt with before. Don't expect them to have the same methods, the same um, information coming through, deliver it the same, because we do what we can with what we get. And for certain people, we found that certain things work for us and certain things don't. Some people don't hear things. Some people hear people talking to them all the time and can't shut it off. There's also ways and means that psychics can actually govern that. Like I said, you have to have your dominion. You have to have certain rules and regulations for yourself and an understanding with your guides that help and facilitate the information coming through on what you do and don't want. And they'll never give you something that you really just can't handle emotionally. If that's happening, that's a sign that you need to set some boundaries. All right. And you need to ask for that help to set those boundaries, and they will help you. Your guides and guardians around you they're not like other humans that really just don't respect our free will. A lot of times, other humans don't respect our free will. But your guides and guardians, those energies are high vibration. They will always honor your free will because that is an element of your physical self. You're here with free will to make choices, make mistakes, learn lessons, and without asking for their help, they're not going to intervene. They're not just going to interfere in your life. But if you ask, they'll do what you ask. They'll help with what you ask. It might come in a really weird and wonderful way that you don't expect, but they will give you that lesson or the means to do the thing that you want to do. There's a video that I've done called Please Ask Me How, and I'm sure some of my clients are sick of hearing it, but it literally speaks about how to ask for that and how to say to them, please show me how, sorry, not please ask me how, please show me how. Please show me how to focus so that I can write my exams. Please show me how to attract the right kind of people for my business. Show me how to achieve this goal by the end of the month. There's nothing that you can't ask. All right. So please go and find that video if that's going to be helpful to you. If you don't know how to speak to your guides, you don't know how to tap into that, that's a really good place to start because it starts building that relationship. Okay, we'll talk about guides and guardians and stuff at a later stage. I don't have my names necessarily for my guides and guardians unless they are actually, family that have passed on. I don't think that's important to them. It's an earthly thing, so it's not important to me. And other people don't agree with that. They need to have a name and they need to know what they look like. That's not something that I concern myself with because that's our earthly stuff that is for us, I suppose, but they're not concerned with it, so I don't bother with it. But yeah, so please just remember every single person gets different information coming through. To give you an example of what happens with me, it's very different and it depends on what reading I'm doing as well. But if we're talking about mediumship, like if I'm doing a reading for past loved ones, a lot of the time I will have like songs coming through. I'll have a description of a particular person or a particular thing that they're showing me. And when I say they're showing me, I see it in my mind's eye. It's like all of a sudden a picture of a barn pops into your head. Okay, it's just like when you're in the shower and a song pops into your head. It's the same kind of thing. The only difference is that is being given to me. Okay, it's like a suggestion that's been planted into my head. If you can't get a particular song out of your head, that happens to people all the time. With me, I need to pay attention to that because that's probably something I need to mention to the person if I'm in that reading with that person in that moment. All right. I also do see things in front of me a lot, but it's not literally in front of me. It's in my mind's eye. I have seen full body apparitions and stuff in my lifetime. It doesn't happen to me too much. And when I was talking about setting boundaries through your guides and guardians, I have set a boundary where I've said, please, I don't ever want somebody's grandmother standing at the bottom of my bed, waking me up at night saying, I need to speak to Paul right now. I don't want to do that kind of thing. So I've set that boundary for myself, and you're completely capable of doing that. That's totally possible. So what else? You can get smells. You can get, I've had hot chocolate coming through in a reading that I thought, this is crazy. I could taste it. I could smell it. It was hugely significant to the person I did the reading for. So Who am I to say it's not important? I give them everything that comes through, and I say, right now, and I can almost get interrupted, and I'll be in the flow and information coming through, and I'll be told pink ribbon. And I'll be like, pink ribbon. And I'll say, okay, there's something about a pink ribbon. I've just got to say that right now. And it'll be significant. I also do get to a point where I start speaking. And once I start speaking, stuff just comes out. It's like I open up a tap and the information just comes. And it's not something that I really think about or overthink. I just say whatever I have to say. It's on autopilot almost. And I don't like to interrupt that flow, because that is a kind of mediumship where I don't have control over that, and it's not like something's taking over my body, but I'm being information is being channeled through me. So I just have to talk, and sometimes I have to talk really quickly because I've got to get it all out and I cannot be interrupted. That's why if you've ever had a reading with me, you'll see that I don't actually take phone calls at all, and I do the voice notes. That's for a couple of reasons. I want my client to be able to keep a copy of their reading to refer back to whenever they want to. I think that's important. Otherwise, they try and ask me, what did you say about this? What did you say about that? That's your reading. It's important that you have that reading for you. And you can refer to it anytime. You can put on a laptop and listen to it in 4 years' time. Not that it will necessarily be super relevant, but you can do that. And the other reason is that I cannot be interrupted when the flow of information is coming through. If someone calls me while I'm recording a voice note, it cuts off my voice note. And then I've got to stop and try and start again. And what was I saying? And a lot of the time I don't know. And that's another thing. I don't always remember what I've said. So that's also why it's vitally important. I've had to go and listen to recordings of readings and say, what did I say here? This client's asking me a question. I don't know what this was about. I go listen to it, and then I kind of click, because I do remember elements of it, and then I'm like, oh, this was about this. So it's a very it's a very delicate kind of a practice, and there's no hard and fast rules, and it can be a case of once the information's gone, it's gone. So I never wanted to be interrupted, because there can be one sentence that I was meant to say that was so vital for that person, and someone phones me. And I'm just like, and then I've lost my train of thought, and I'm not attentive to that person, and that my flow's gone. I'm now putting my client on hold. It's completely disrupted me, and I've got to try and center myself again. Hope I don't forget anything that I needed to say, and try and get back in the groove when I was flowing. So if any of you wondered why that happens, that's the case. And also, obviously, I work very much with international clients. A lot of them are like 8 or 9 hours behind me. And so people would be calling me at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I just can't have that. I also need to sleep. Rest is very important for psychics and mediums as well. What we do is exceptionally taxing mentally and also emotionally, depending on what we're working on. When I do mediumship for people, talking to past family members, a lot of the time their character will come through. I'll make a joke and I'll say, like, I have to say this. I hear a phrase in my head, and I hear the way that it's said as well. And it's like maybe in a joking manner, or it's a catchphrase that person would have said. And that is one of the things that validates that for that person, And they'll say, hit the road, Jack, whatever. And this person will say, that's exactly what they used to say. And that's what they needed as validation, that the information's coming through correctly, that the person that they're speaking to is really the person they're speaking to. And if someone calls me, that would have been lost. So that's why I don't do it. And a lot of people think it's unreasonable, but I really have good reason for everything that I do. So it's very important that people respect that, and respect that certain mediums and psychics do things for very good reasons as well. But we're all different. It's as individual as a fingerprint, and that's the most important thing for you to remember. We don't all see dead people. We don't all hear things and hear lots of voices. We don't all get messages in the middle of the night, or get a message for you the minute we see you. I am very controlled in my practice. I only get information for you when I sit down and I say, I want information for this person. It's not just, it does from time to time come in and I say, I feel compelled to tell somebody something, but I'm not going to stop you at a restaurant and say, I have to do a reading for you right now. I am very controlled because I have other commitments in my life as well, and I don't want to be bothered at any given time. I don't want it to disrupt my family, and I've just need to sit with that person, and I dedicate it to that person, and I open up the connection, and I say, okay, I'm ready to speak to so and so on behalf of Julie, whoever I'm doing my reading for, and now is the time for me to tap into Julie's energy and the person that she wants to contact, and I only speak to that person. Also, that's how it's different for me with mediumship. I don't say whoever wants to come through. I don't think that that is an ideal practice for everybody. It's certainly not for me. I don't want a bunch of messages in and then we've got to sit for half an hour and figure out, but who's saying this? Could it be your grandfather or is it actually your aunt? I like to keep things orderly and simple, and it facilitates me giving more accurate information and for things to be more streamlined and focused, and that makes for better reading, in my opinion. Okay, but that doesn't work for all other readers. Other readers can pick up, oh, grandma's saying this right now and grandpa's interjecting, but then also that for me, that's just too much. Too much. Okay, I just don't like to work like that. And also, I find when we speak to past loved ones, usually one representative of the family will come through, or the person I've specifically asked for, and the others will impart information through that person. Okay, so there's millions of different ways that it can happen and come through, and I can have a dream. There can be all kinds of things. I once actually phoned my friend overseas to tell him that his wife was pregnant, because all I got woken up with was, she's pregnant, she's pregnant, she's pregnant, and hearing her name. Let's call her Susan. Susan's pregnant, Susan's pregnant, Susan's pregnant. And I'm like, wow, okay. It was like all encompassing. And I phoned him and I said, listen, Susan's pregnant. And he said to me, no way. So I said, okay, well, I'm just telling you because it's super weird. Let's see what happens. And 2 weeks later, he called me up and he says, guess what? Susan's pregnant. That has only happened once in my life with somebody being pregnant. It never happened again. And that's how things can happen. It's just like, it comes through and it comes through sometimes. We don't always have control over it. We don't get an automatic message for you when you contact us. I've had people who are saying, oh, tell me what I had for breakfast this morning if you're really a psychic. That is downright disrespectful, and I'm not even willing to work with you, really, because I do understand to a large extent that it's coming from a place of ignorance of how we do operate, but it really is disrespectful. And I do find that people obviously have had huge exposure to charlatans. It is a huge problem in our industry, and that's why working with integrity is so vitally important, because like I say, one terrible review can ruin you in this industry. So you have to work with integrity. You have to be honest. And I've even said to people, like they say, I want to test you. What can I test you with? And I say, you can't test me. I'm not a lipstick that you can try and see if you like it or not, It doesn't work like that. So, yeah, we have to draw our boundaries with the living and with those who have passed on in order to do our job to the best of our ability. All right, if you've got any other questions, if there's something I haven't touched on, there are things that I've spoken on and touched on in this video that I want to do further videos on. But if there's anything that maybe listening to this, it spurred a question, please comment and let me know what that question is, because I'd love to do more videos on what people think and what do they wonder about. And if I can answer it, I'd love to answer it, and I'd love to give people more awareness around how it works and what happens in the background with us, and what our thoughts are, how it works with those who have passed on. That's one of the things that I'm definitely going to cover. Guides and guardians, past loved ones. I want to cover all of this stuff. So please, if there's anything specific that you want to know or you want me to do a video on, let me know. Please don't ask me in the comments if I can do a free reading for you. That's also disrespectful. I have got a lot of clients excuse me, that are waiting in a queue. It's actually I've got to make time to do these videos, like consciously make time to do these videos, because I'm blessed enough to have interaction with my clients all the time and to have a very good client base, and a lot of them have been word of mouth. I'm really, really blessed, and while I'm at it, I'm thanking all of you for that very much. But please, it's disrespectful to pop into someone's DMs and say, hey, can you do a free reading for me? A lot of them offer free readings. I do free readings when I can, but the reason I don't do it at the moment is I literally just don't have the capacity for it. I do have a family, I do have other commitments. I've got a very busy life in other ways. I've got a busy life with my clients. I do energy sessions as well as readings. It's not because I don't want to give people free readings that I don't want to help people. And if anybody knows me, they'll know that I've done a lot of free work in the past. I've done free energy sessions for people who don't have jobs. I'm happy to do that. That is something ongoing. If there's somebody who's unemployed, I will do an energy session for you to get a job. And when you've got your job, you can pay me back. That's always been a thing for me. Okay, I just don't do free readings because I literally don't have capacity for it. There is what is it called? I'll have to leave a link at the bottom. There's a subreddit on Reddit where I do from time to time pop in because people ask questions, and I do quick readings because they're asking one question. Is it a good idea for me to re-enroll in college? And also, like, not silly things like, does Frank still think about me? I don't mean to be disrespectful, but really, when it's an important question, when it's, a life and death situation, or someone needs to make an important career decision, that's when I'll answer questions and do free readings for people, because it's something they really need. And it's not just, I'm bored and I feel like doing something fun, so let me go on Reddit and ask 20 questions and see, about superfluous stuff in my life. I'm serious about what I do. I'm there to give you serious guidance, financial projections, career guidance, relationship guidance with real advice. Okay, I'm very serious about what I do. I'm serious about helping people, and that is why I operate in the way that I do. Okay, please again, comment if there's something you'd like me to do a video on. If there's a question in your mind after watching this video, I really want to hear about it. And I'd really love to do more videos and tell you my experiences. Like I said, there's no hard and fast rules. I'm not saying this is the law and this is how it is and there's no other way. But I'm willing to share my experience if that's going to help people to learn a bit more and they're going to find it interesting. All right, I send you all lots of love and I'll chat to you again soon.